Hello and welcome to the Northwest Treatment Vidcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Léa, what are we going to talk about today?
Hey, Jessica. Today we're going to talk about hobbies.
Great. What a good topic.
So before we get started, one of the big things that always comes up that we ask our clients is, what is the definition of a hobby and the definition of leisure activity? So today we're going to talk about just hobbies, though. And the definition of a hobby, I'm going to use my cheat sheet. Sorry, guys. Is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure, according to Wikipedia.
I love it. And we do enjoy asking people for definitions on the various topics when we have groups and appointments, just so that we are all on the same page and have a common understanding.
Yeah, and it's been super helpful. And I really liked it because when you look up the definition of a hobby on the internet, Wikipedia has an entire page dedicated to different kinds of hobbies, which I thought was fascinating. And they had things from like 3D printing, which I didn't even think about that being a hobby, but that is something my brother does. All the way to the very last one was whale watching.
So alphabetized hobbies on Wikipedia.
Yeah, because I mean, like, and there was different categories and it was everywhere. Like, this was a fairly long page. Like, I was actually fairly impressed. I was like, oh, I never thought of this activity being a hobby, but I guess it is. Absolutely is.
That's great. So why would you say we talk about hobbies when it comes to either mental health or substance use?
Well, it's really important to develop hobbies when you're recovering from mental health issues or from addiction issues, because boredom is actually one of the biggest triggers for people. Like, it just is. Like, one of my personal things is if I'm bored, I will go bake. And if I've had a bad day and I'm bored, I will go bake cookies. Well, that's not true. I will make cookies and then they just never get baked.
Right. You keep them in the freezer.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
You should also, by the way, guys, never eat raw cookie dough, not because of the eggs necessarily, but because of actually the flour. Did you know that? I did not know that until this year.
I know that, but that's only because I roommate with someone who's very big into food science. So I learned that kind of stuff just by osmosis.
It's kind of fun. But so essentially a hobby is going to help you learn how to do things and also help you rewire your brain.
Right.
So part of the big thing about hobbies is that they actually can release endorphins into your brain, which is the happy button part of your brain. This is the part that makes us all go, ooh, do it again. Ooh, do it again. And the problem comes in when you have addictions is that a lot of times the endorphins get completely depleted.
Right.
So it kind of becomes problematic. But if you start picking up a hobby and you enjoy the hobby, like knitting is one of the hobbies that Jessica and I share, it actually will release endorphins back into your bloodstream at a much lower level, but in a sustainable way.
In a way we control.
Exactly, which is a way that actually your brain is meant to have things. It's not meant to be like flooded with dopamines or endorphins or anything. Like, it likes things to build up slowly and then come back down off of it. And so hobbies actually rewire your reward system in your brain, which is really important when you're in recovery from both mental health and addictions, because that helps your brain it helps your brain relearn how to function in a typical fashion.
Yeah, and that's a big deal, because whether it's a mental health issue that has affected the chemicals in our brain that we're born with, or have a situation that deals with it, or if it is a chemical, addiction issue, our brains can get out of whack. And so this is an easy way to have some control, have some effect in our lives when it comes to our time, comes to having maybe something at the end that's productive, something we feel proud about, something we can share and join a community about. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest reasons I really got into knitting and crocheting and yarn art was to get together with people. And nowadays with COVID, I do so digitally, but to really share my joy around the creation of these items, and then the pride I have when something's finished, or if I give them away for holiday gifts. You can not just have a hobby that you learn about productivity and learn about, the steps in doing a goal, but also in building that sense of community.
Exactly. And actually you're going ahead and putting out my last point, which is it actually will help you rebuild your self-worth.
Yeah.
Hobbies are great for that. So like Jessica said, both Jessica and I enjoy knitting. And one of the things that I really have come to appreciate about myself as a knitter is that it doesn't have to be perfect for it to be amazing.
Correct.
And actually, it's one of my few little tricks is I will put in an error, which drives Jessica crazy, but I put in an error into the beginning of all my knits so that I can move on past them, because otherwise I have been known to undo years worth of work when I've made a mistake and realized it and I can't move past it.
Right.
And so hobbies are great for that, like that ability to connect with other people, like Jessica was saying, but also that ability for yourself to feel good about what it is you're making. And let's be honest, like with knitting, I have seen all sorts of things, and the truth of the matter is nobody ever sees the mistakes you made.
Right.
And I
And
think that's much more accurate with all hobbies.
yeah. And I mean, really what it is it's hopefully something you enjoy doing in and of
Yeah.
itself. And then sometimes hobbies will have a product at the end. And not always, but it's about the time we enjoy spending. And it is still
Yeah.
also something, we talked about building a community, but it's also something to let us honor time by ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially with how isolated everybody is with COVID, more and more hobbies are being picked up than really have been in a very, very long time in our social world. And
Yeah.
people are just getting back into blacksmithing or woodworking or, sewing clothing from scratch and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. And so that's pretty much it. And when you're going, there's one last piece that I wanted to share, and that is when you're going through recovery, it's a great time to partially reinvent yourself or reconnect with your old self or whatever it is. But that reinventing part of it is amazing. And part of that includes like, well, what do I actually like doing with my time? Like maybe your hobby is just reading. And you know what? That's an awesome, amazing time to spend your time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I like
so,
it.
did you have anything else you wanted to share, Jessica?
No, I would say if anybody wants to share their hobbies,
Yeah.
feel free to leave it in the links below, in the comments below, and we'll go from there. But it's really just a matter of trying something new,
Absolutely.
and there's a lot of hobbies you can do for free. So try not to let the cost of joining or starting something new, deter you. But otherwise, we're excited to see and hear from clients and other people out there what you guys enjoy doing.
And so, with that, we wish you to be well and to be happy.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.